Sell me on Aaron Rodgers. You don't need to sell me on Aaron Rodgers because I trust your opinion, but come on, sell me.
Like I said, Minnesota is terrible in their secondary, and they're weakened with the pass rush because they lost all those guys. So Aaron Rodgers is going to have all day to throw, in my opinion. And when you give Aaron Rodgers time to throw, those deep routes, it's not just going to be Devontae Adams picking them apart, but you've got guys from the Saints to differentiate your stacks with Traquan Smith, who I love, and Emmanuel Sanders, another guy on DK, 4,800 and 5K for Traquan and Emmanuel Sanders. I mean, those prices are so good. And you throw one of those two guys in there in your Breeze or Stafford stacks, and you're immediately going to be very different from the field.
Why do you like DeAndre Swift from the Lions?
Yeah, so coming off the bye, I expect DeAndre Swift to become the lead back, and I think it could be this week. Two other quarterbacks that I'm going to play a lot in tournaments is Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. I think both these guys have tremendous upside. I think their price tags are still a little bit too cheap, so we're getting them at a value. Everyone's going to be paying up at quarterback, in my opinion, so paying down is going to be a little contrarian. And they both have really good matchups on the board. I think that this could be a spot where Joe Burrow goes nuts and has like 3-4 touchdown game, puts up 25 plus DraftKings points at 5,500. I got a lot of questions on Dalvin Cook and how I got there. Got Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt, all in that kind of price range above and below him. He's going to be the guy ownership-wise that gets left out. And I think he has just as much upside as any of those guys. I believe that Christian McCaffrey is going to be under 5%, probably like 2 or 3%.
Wow.
And if we can get McCaffrey at 5% or under, man, I just can't, I can't not take a shot with Christian McCaffrey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Run Pure Sports, Run Pure You. I'm your host, Mangone. I am back with two of my buddies. We are doing the college football show. We're doing it live for free for you guys over here on the YouTube for the first time. We got Big T, we got Bruce. Let's kick it off with you first, Bruce. How's it going over there, man?
Pretty good. Just digging a little bit into this nice little slate on a great Saturday. It's a little chilly here in Texas. How about you?
I'm happy, excited, ready to watch some football today, ready for NFL this weekend, and excited to have our boy here, Big T. How's it going over there, man? You got Bruce all excited this morning with his boy, Mr. Penix, in the background. So how's it going, man?
Yeah, I'm excited too. We had some foots yesterday. Had, a few injuries, like Valladay got hurt early. He had like an 80-yard touchdown right out of the gate. Easiest play on the board, and then he comes down with an injury. It didn't go quite as planned, but we got another day today, and I don't see how we lose today with our guy Bruce's favorite dude and just the total smash spot with weapons to play. It's gonna be a good slate.
Yep, gonna be a good slate. I agree. I absolutely cannot wait for it. Can't wait to break it down with you guys. Before we kind of dive in, please hit that like, hit that subscribe on the video. We would appreciate it a ton. It helps us out here over at Run Pure Sports. Also wanted to mention, we have a little nice promo that's going on over here at Run Pure Sports. If you guys haven't checked this out yet, use the promo code Turkey50 when you sign up. Again, that's Turkey50. And when you use that code, you will get 50% off your first payment. Definitely worth checking out over here at Run Pure Sports. Again, so much great college football stuff we have going on. Bruce has the projections for you. We got the lineup builder. We also got core plays. We're going to see Big T's core, my core, Snyder, and Susie. We got the Discord chat where tons of people are having fun, hanging out, and also answering questions for you guys to help you out with all the slates. We also got the tiers. You can see our ranked players based on tiers. And then, Bruce, we also have a late slate, right? We'll be doing tonight. That'll be at 7 o'clock, I believe, right? Is that when the late slate is? And then we'll be giving out the tiers and giving out our core plays, correct?
Yep, 6 Central, and we'll have those up. I I should have everything finalized here 2:00 or so.
Nice. And I mean, Bruce, like, let's say someone's like playing college football for the first time, right? And they're like, oh, well, like, why should I play more college football? It's kind of winding down. That's not true. We have it during the weekdays, right? Too. We also got the Tuesday action, Wednesday action slates, and then we'll have like all the playoffs, and I believe there'll be bowl games, right? Tell the people a little bit about all this stuff going on to close the season out.
Yeah, we've got tons of weekday action. I'm not sure if there's too much action left with. I think they kind of slow that down near the end of the season, but we'll have some weekly games. Some games during the week. Also, the bowl games coming up, as you said. Just pay attention, and we'll give out tons of info in the Discord and during these shows, of course.
Yep. And one reason to be in Discord is for the news, right? College football is such a news-driven sport. When someone just is randomly out, you can gain a massive edge. I mean, that happened with the UCF guys yesterday. That was huge. So definitely be sure you are in the Discord chat. That way you can get all of the college football news. Speaking of the Discord chat, Big T, I did want to mention, we're trying to, tell people about our premium product. We got the Tournament Champions going on. I saw you posted it this morning. That's for the NFL, which we got going on tomorrow. We also have our morning wood show tomorrow. Come back tomorrow, same time, same place, 10 a.m. And we'll be talking some football. But just for the NFL, Big T, tell the people about the Tournament Champions that we have going on over here.
Yeah, I mean, even if you're more of a college person that you like playing the college, it's still a free tournament for all of our members. I think it's $850 in prizes a week, just totally for free, no commitment. I mean, besides the membership, but everyone in it is already a member, so no reason not to get in it. Free, $850 in prizes. If you happen to win, you win a seat to the end too, where we got bigger prizes for free. No reason not to get in. Sign up, get in there, fun time. And then one of the advantages of the Discord that you need to be in with college is you're going to get info. Like right now, if you're in the Discord, you see Big Chuba, who sucked all year, who came in underpriced today. I was dreading having to even think about playing him. Looks like he's going to be out, which
that's huge. I'm
happy. Thrilled about because I did not want to have to think about Chuba, and it gives us a nice value play, Mr. LD, and he's 4,200. So if you were in Discord, it doesn't matter right now because we're on the show, but later in the day when news like this hits, you can be in the Discord. You'll see it. You'll know LD Brown is one of the best plays now, 4,200. Got to be in the Discord, especially for college sports, because literally all week, I mean, we've been playing all week. College Hoop started Wednesday. Our College Hoop product has been incredible so far. News hits. I mean, you have to be in the Discord especially with COVID now, like these injuries and guys out. If you're not in Discord, you're doing it wrong for college sports, because even it happened yesterday with Central Florida. Like all of a sudden 3 guys are out. You got to pivot to the 3K running back. You got to pivot to some of those. The receivers didn't work out, and that's one of the reasons I didn't cash. But you had to play some of those guys when all those dudes are out. They score a ton of points. Our guy we talked about on the other show, I remember asking, like, can this McLeod dude do anything? He freaking crushed. And for whatever reason, those guys always crush when it's like a nut spot. And the guy might suck, but if the defense sucks too, it just doesn't matter. Point being, you need to be in the Discord. You need to stay up on the news, and I think we can help you with that over at Run Pure.
Yep, agree with you with that, guys. Let's dive in. Let's talk about this slate. And man, Big T, you just delivered like the news I needed. Like I was talking with Bruce about some stuff, and he showed me a team. He was like, "Oh, I'm 100 off the nuts." Like you always are. It's always 100 off. And I was like, man, like I just don't want to play Chuba that bad. Like when he's been without Spencer Sanders, it hasn't been good. He hasn't really been great lately. But the problem is he's against Texas Tech. And we know how Texas Tech is, right? They are an absolute disaster on the defensive end, a team that you can just target a ton. So I'm very happy about this news. Can't wait to dive in and talk about it. Let's talk about the quarterbacks at the top, though. We'll start there.
Hold on a second. Bruce, they're saying in the chat, too, LD's a game-time decision, too? What?
Oh, wow. Okay.
What happens if he's out, too? Who's the third stringer?
Yeah, it's Desmond Jackson. And
how cheap is he?
He's 3,300. So, and 4,900 on FanDuel. So
I mean, if LD's out, like, how do we not play a 30?
You have to. You have to.
I don't care who it is. It could be Mangone and I'd play him.
He's great. He's graded out at 76 by PFF too. So he's played. I think he played 30% of the snaps last week too. So he could smash. Yeah.
Even if LD's in, he might be a good play at 3,300.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Big T, if I was in there, you can confirm I will fall forward and get you that touchdown. I'm not going to get stuck.
I concur.
We've seen it. So let's talk about this. I'm excited though. This news is always good. I'm definitely all for the news and can't wait to break it down here. And another thing too, like late swap, be sure to be late swapping, guys. That's another thing. Like if you're behind in your cash games, tournaments, be sure to be doing that.
Or if you're ahead, it doesn't always have to be behind either. If you're ahead, you can pivot to some safer stuff or whatever. Like in colleges, there's just so much. Like what if you were ahead yesterday and that Central Florida news hit? Like you would have to pivot. Like if you're not pivoting, you're doing it wrong. That's one of the reasons I was always against late swap for NBA, because I didn't want to sit on the friggin' thing all day and have to make decisions because of the disadvantage you're at. If you're not using late swap, every single slate, I mean, you don't always have to use it, but you at least need to think through the decisions. Like, should I stay? Should I swap? You got to use it to your advantage.
No, yeah, I'm with you, and I would rather just kind of set and forget too. But again, it does help us out. So and like crazy things too, and we'll dive in, guys. But like when you said that, Big T, I think back to I was dead. I remember, how in NBA there can be some massive trains, right? I was absolutely dead with Anthony Davis. Like he was 80% owned. You know what I did one time, Big T? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play DeMar DeRozan, and the chances DeMar DeRozan outscores Anthony Davis, it's so slim. But I'm already dead, right? And then DeMar DeRozan dropped a 45 and Davis dropped like a 25. And I literally passed the train and like crushed. It was like ridiculous. So again,
all that has to happen is a few times too. I mean, because all the lazy people that don't do it, and you're just guaranteed to lose, then you're not winning. So you're getting zero no matter what. You could literally put anyone in there because you're not winning no matter what he does. So take a chance. All of a sudden that you went from no cash to maybe you made money. You do that a few times a year. That might be the difference between a winning year and a losing year. It's that close of a line, those little things.
Yep. So yeah, definitely be sure to be doing that. But let's dive in and talk about these quarterbacks. And let's talk about the guys at the top. It does feel like, hey, like there's one cheap value that I think a lot of people are going to want to be on, but there's a lot of good guys to talk about at the top, Bruce. You got Coral, you got Trask, you got Lawrence, you got your boy. Break it all down, Bruce. How are you handling the top at quarterback?
Yeah, there's a lot of expensive guys, but they're priced correctly, I believe. Matt Corral against Mississippi State, just a perfect matchup for him. He's crushed all year. That Mississippi State pass defense is pretty bad. So yeah, if you can fit him in, it's nice. I'm gonna stick with him in stacks. Maybe him and Elijah Moore. That's a very pricey combo. But, it definitely has a 100-point upside between those two. You also have Trevor Lawrence up there. That's one of my conundrums today is, if I'm going to play Lawrence or Etienne, I like playing Lawrence a little bit more just because Pittsburgh has stopped the run this year very well. Most quarterbacks have performed well against Pittsburgh, while the running backs have kind of struggled. I looked back at a couple games. It looked like NC State. They had Devin Leary at the time, but he threw for 4 touchdowns against Pitt, while they're usually good running games struggled. So I kind of like him. I like his upside in that spot. Kyle Trask is just smashed all year. He gets Kentucky today. Kentucky would probably try to slow the game down a little bit, but they're trying to get Trask the Heisman. So he has 4 or 5 touchdown upside there, and of course my boy Michael Penix against Maryland's defense. It's just the perfect spot. And I know Big T loves to use the cheap receivers. There's a ton on that Indiana side we can use, and they play the whole game. So what are you liking today, Big T?
For me, the quarterback is just so easy today because you got the GOATs at the top. I mean, Coral and just the total nut spot. These are the spots in college I just don't pass up. So I don't know if it's right or wrong. I'm not saying it's either way. I'm a tournament player. Some of the best college people are more cash oriented where they just play the optimal. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's obviously right. They make money. They're the best players doing it. Mangone plays the optimal too. I'm not saying it's wrong by any means, but like everyone's going to jam Will Rogers today because he's 6K and that high total. And I'm not saying I don't like him. Like I can play him on some stuff, but man, if I can somehow find a way to play Penix with however you pronounce to his brother, how do you pronounce
Talia?
Talia? That's what they call him. They don't have like a nickname like Ta or something.
Maybe
Talia. Okay,
yeah.
we'll call him Talia. Like if I can play Penix and Talia, like he's 1,400 more than Rogers. He's looked really good his last 2 starts. I got a little game stack there if Maryland can score some points. And if he outscores Rogers by like 15 points, I'm going to just punish the field. And I don't need that. Or I mean, with all the value we have now, like say Letty Brown's out and all of a sudden we can play Desmond Jackson and Dominic Richardson. It looks like would be the backup then, 3,300 and 3K. All of a sudden you could play. What if I play Penix and Coral and Moore and just put all these studs up in there? If these value guys get there, like these teams with Rogers will not be able to catch up. Like they'll just be too far behind because of all the upside. Again, I'm not saying I don't like Will Rogers. I think he's the best play if you just look at price. He's 6K. These other guys are 8,800 and 10-1. But I also think he could bust, and I could see Ole Miss pounding Mississippi State one time, and that path where Rogers gets like 14, when he gets 14 fantasy points, you're just dead to these teams with these studs up there. So for me, I mean, it's super simple. I want one of Coral or Penix for sure, and then if I play Penix, I want Talia. And I mean, maybe you can definitely play Rogers with Coral just because of the game stack purposes. But I mean, clearly at the top for me, it's Coral and Penix.
Yeah, definitely those two I'm looking at. And I look at Lawrence too. It's tough for sure to kind of get the decision point on like which guy to go to, because I agree with what Bruce said. Like Trevor Lawrence is kind of in a spot where it's like a pass funnel, right? And a pass funnel against Pitt, it seems like it's a pretty good spot to maybe get some Lawrence. So Penix versus Lawrence is definitely something I'm debating. And Coral probably naturally goes on their own because it's just hard to get up to him. And then same with Trask, right? Those two are just a little more difficult. But again, now that we have this possible value, it's a little bit easier to make that happen. So we'll have to see. I haven't built, lineups with those kind of new builds. So we'll have to see when I get off the show. Can you talk to me, Bruce, about maybe a Cade McNamara, maybe a Bo Nix? Listen, like if you're going to play Mac Jones, right, maybe run it back with Bo Nix if you think that Alabama-Auburn game just goes crazy. Is that a crazy idea on this type of slate?
No, I've gone back and forth on McNamara. There always is a chance that Harbaugh could, put Milton back in, even though he's been terrible. So you just never know. I may give that a week or two just to see how it pans out. But I like the spot. Penn State's been terrible. They can't tackle anything. So that's a solid spot. And there's some cheap wide receivers there too. But yeah, I mostly want to stay away from Michigan's offense. They're just, they've been Jekyll and Hyde this year a little bit. But yeah, I like Bo Nix against Bama. He's 5,800. It's a good solid pivot off of Will Rogers. Only $300 or let's see. $200.
Yeah, he's only
less.
200 more or 100 more, so it's not too much more. I did want to ask you the question Big T had, because I am curious what you think, especially with all this value opening up. Like Will Rogers, he seems like he's good. I don't know enough about him, right? I pulled up his picture. He looks like Johnny Manziel a little bit. I felt like when I was watching it, like I was like, oh, this guy looks like Manziel. So I was thinking he's got to be just like him, right? He's going to actually light it up. But we'll have to see. Will Rogers versus Tua's brother. With more value opening up, do you think it is worth getting up to Tua's brother in a game where the game script is going to be fitting him really well, Bruce? Like it's going to be perfect, right? Going to be trailing a ton. And I mean, Maryland can put up points, but that Indiana defense, that defense is really good. I do kind of have a fear that it might let down more than I would think, because they just played off a big game against Ohio State, right? Sometimes there's some letdown spots where you can see them maybe let down a little bit and the game gets, kind of goes a little crazy. So What's your thoughts on maybe going to Tua's brother, like Big T said, instead of Will Rogers?
Yeah, someone in the chat, actually, Chris said that his nickname is Tia. So I guess we can go with that.
I remember them calling him something just when I was watching it. I was like, because I never even, I just don't like pronouncing it.
No, it's kind of a feminine name. Nothing wrong with that. But
I like Tia though. Besides,
Tia.
I think of that like bachelorette chick or bachelor chick when I think Tia. But I'm all good with it. If he gets us the giblets today, I'll call him Tia.
Tia's a fox, Big T. I know you're talking about. She's a babe.
Yeah.
So
I'm good with it.
Let me take a look here. But yeah, I like him a little bit more than Will Rogers. That Ole Miss defense is pretty bad though. But I really see this Indiana Maryland game shooting out. So give me Tia over Will Rogers if I can get there. I haven't tried to build since this running back news came out with Hubbard, but if I can get there, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm going to look at when I get off of the show for sure. Definitely want to check that out. Before we move on to the running back position, guys, please hit the like, hit the subscribe, and be sure to check out over at Run Pure Sports our core plays that we have. I don't have mine up and finalized, and I'm probably gonna have to change it right when I get off the show. But I think Bruce is gonna have to do the same, right? I think you had Chuba Hubbard in your core plays, and we'll have to change those up for you guys. But head on over to Run Pure Sports, sign up, and check them out. You can get Bruce's cash core plays, my core plays, Big T's, Susie, and Snyder's. And then we're in the Discord chat also helping you guys out, answering your questions, hitting you with all the news. So if any more news pops up, we'll bring it up on the show. Let's hit up the running back position, and let's talk at the top, right? We got Mr. Najee Harris at the top. We got Etienne. Those are two studs. Are they worth paying for? Which one is worth paying for, right? We have all this value opening up, so it seems like we could get one of the top tier running backs if we want. I'll head on over to you, Big T. I know you're willing to play any cheap receiver, so I'm sure you're willing to get one of these top end running backs with them. Who's your guy?
So it's a little funny today because it's kind of backwards for me because I want more and I want our boy Freifogel. Like these dudes are just total studs. And the roster construction is going to be fun today for me because I like correlation and I don't mind playing cheap guys. And now that we got the Desmond Jackson play at 3,300, if I really want to gamble on one more spot and play one more close to min price guy, because I don't consider him a min price guy anymore. Like with the situation as it is, he should be like in the 5Ks and he's 3,300. So I'm basically getting a 5K guy for min price. If I can find one more guy for like 3K, I can maybe get my dream team of playing Penix with Freifogel and Coral and more, which was impossible early this morning because you're going to need two min price guys. We got one, and then we got a ton of value receivers we can play. So, like you guys said, we got Marshall when we get to the receivers, Hendershot, who you can play. It works nicely. If we can find one more min price guy, like 3K, I think we can make it work. But I mean, at the top, if I had to choose, it's always going to be Najee. I mean, against Auburn, rivalry game, I think he's got a 30-point projection in that range. I don't think he'll ever get less than like 25. Could get in the 40s, could totally crush. Just rock solid play. I mean, nothing wrong with it at all. But with how I like to build my teams and these quarterbacks today, Coral and Penix, I just want to get these good receivers with them, especially if you play Coral. Like if I play Coral, there's no way I'm playing Coral without more, and that's 10.1 and 9.4 to get them both, which is tough, but there's no way I'm doing it without more. Like I either won't play both of them or I'll just play Coral with them. So I don't think I'm going to play Najee or Etienne, but they're both good plays. I mean, if you can get to them, I think they're both going to crush. I think they're both solid. But just with my roster construction, like I'd rather play Desmond Jackson than any cheap receiver. So that's one running back spot. And then there's other guys in the mid-range. I mean, like Stevie Scott at 5.1 in that same game. Like if you're not playing Penix, you're for sure going to play Stevie Scott at 5.1, and you might just play them both anyways. That's just too cheap for the guy. So For me, I don't think I can play Najee or Etienne today, but I think they're both really good plays.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with you on that. Again, like I just started looking at the construction and like things are totally different now. It's a whole new world basically opening this up and trying to build them out. And I agree with what you said. If you're gonna play like Elijah Moore, right? You're playing with Matt Corral. Definitely agree on that. And the more I look at it, maybe I can get away with not playing Najee. Like he is expensive, and I will say like some of these receivers like. You can make a case Elijah Moore over a guy like Najee Harris just because
Like
of the
I would for
upside
sure
receivers
take
can
him
have.
over him. Like I wouldn't even like consider taking Najee over Elijah, which sounds crazy on the surface, but they got a massive total. He's going to be lower owned, maybe not lower owned now because of some of the value that's hitting, but I just like him better than Najee. I think he's got more upside. Like I think he's got legitimately 50s upside. I don't think Najee quite has as much upside as him.
What do you think, Bruce? Do you agree with Big T on this? Like, if you had to pick, 'cause I mean, there are some studs on this slate. Like, we want to get them in our lineup. You talk about value, right? There's a lot of value at the running back position that we are talking about right now. Like Stevie Scott is a guy that is an absolute smash value play, right? You have this Oklahoma State value now. Would you rather be paying up for your receivers, or do we see now Najee Harris and Travis Etienne go under-owned?
Yeah, I still like Harris. Definitely I think he's a must in cash. If you want to get different, I like getting different with my builds and GPPs. I think yesterday I ran a 4 running back lineup just because I loved the Iowa running backs, but that didn't really pan out how I wanted it to. But yeah, I like, I love getting different with my builds and GPPs. So, fading Harris could be kind of fun. If you pay up at the wide receiver spot. I love Moore too. That 50-point upside for sure. Also, jamming those high dollar wide receivers like Freifogel and Moore. Could be kind of fun and will definitely be different. I can see that. I love that idea, Big T.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and the build is a lot different now. I did want to ask, I don't know if you think it's crazy. Big T, can you guess what Freifogel's prop is now? Like take a guess at what his player prop is.
I mean, the dude is, if I had to legitimately give him a projection of what I think he's going to get, I mean, again, it's not a median projection. It's just what I think he's going to get. I mean, I'd start him at like 30. I would. Like, I just think he's going to get 30 points. So, like, yeah, I mean, that's not an actual projection. Those of you should understand what I'm saying. Like, if I had to bet it, I don't think I'd bet it at 30, but I think that's what he's going to get. So I'm guessing, I mean, what'd you ask his yards?
Yeah, what do you think his player prop yards is?
150. I don't know.
It's 115.5, which is pretty big, man. Like, especially for a guy that had.
He's going to score, too. Like, he's going to get a touchdown. So you immediately right there, you're putting him at 18 for 18 right there without anything else.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely in good shape to have a pretty good day. All these Indiana.
He's going against Maryland, like he's gonna smash, and everyone when they play Penix is gonna try to play these cheap guys with them. They don't want to play the GOAT with them.
No, you're not wrong. You're gonna try and find a way then to get up to Elijah Moore instead of Freifogel, and that whole like top end range is a little weird. But yeah, we'll get back to running back here. I know we've been talking about receiver a ton, but it's there's a lot going on here with the slate now with the news change. Bruce, talking about the mid-tier a little bit, now with Chuba gone, do you want to play like Jake Funk on Maryland? Is he in play? We like the idea of game stacking that one up. What about Knight for NC State against Syracuse? I think that could make some sense. And then, hey, if you're loading up on the Mississippi game, Ely at 7.1K, it seems like some of that Hubbard ownership might go over to Ely now, who is a pretty good play. I thought he was definitely in play on this slate. Maybe wasn't like a top tier cash play for me, but someone I was looking to maybe get some exposure to.
Yeah, I love Ely. That matchup is solid. They've been playing 2 other backs as well, but he's still going to get 50% of the snaps or so. So he's still a solid play. Kind of like Kevon Lee for Penn State. He had, I believe, 7 or 8 targets last week against Iowa as well, and he's only 5,300. He's a freshman stud running back. He should be sharing carries with the other freshman running back there, but you have 5,300, and then you maybe play Desmond Jackson there as well. You can lock in some high dollar wide receivers as well. So I like that. Also, Dylan Johnson from Mississippi State seems to have taken over the lead back role there for Mississippi State, and they love to throw to the running backs. Mike Leach going back to Washington State and Texas Tech before that always throws to the running backs. So they should be behind a good game script there with a high team total.
Yeah, no, definitely agree on that. Big T, I'll head on over to you. It sounds like you're going to have these like stars and studs bills, and you're not going to be living in this mid tier as much. So I'm assuming if you're counting Stevie Scott as a value, some of these other guys are just going to kind of be ignored by you. Would that be correct?
That would definitely be correct, because I do not like many people in that mid range. Like Ely was in my main build as we started the show, and I don't know if he'll end up there now, just because I might try to flip it a little bit and play a cheaper guy and go up at receiver for him. But I do like him, and honestly, like my goal is on my main team at least was to play like Penix and Tia probably, which would mean I want some exposure to the Ole Miss game in Mississippi State, obviously, because it's a massive total, which would mean more of the running backs just because of the way my teams would set up. So you got Ely at 71, and then you got Dylan Johnson at 58 and Marks at 51, where I don't love any of them. And that's an interesting pivot for me too, because so if I'm playing the passing game for the Indiana game, maybe I don't play Stevie Scott on that one and I pivot to Marks, who's the same price. I definitely think Stevie Scott's the better play, but as far as that team, if I'm playing the passing game, maybe I play Marks there. But if I play Coral in that game passing game, maybe I play Stevie Scott. Since they're both 5,100, I think you can kind of just plug one of those two in there and kind of just see what the rest of the team looks like, depending on which one you do. But those are my guys really in the mid-range, just that game, kind of from my same two stacks. I mean, maybe I treat college as it's too simplified, but we got two premier games, two massive totals. I'm definitely playing the quarterbacks in those games, but on the flip side, I like the running backs too in the mid-range. If I'm not playing the studs, I mean, it's just those four and then the values. So maybe it's overly simplified for me, but it feels really simple.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. I think the game stacking is great in college football too, because when the game goes nuts, like, I mean, you've said it before, like it just goes nuts. Like they ain't stopping anyone. It just kind of, that's how it happens really in college. And that's what I thought. I was very surprised in it yesterday in the Texas game. I was surprised that game didn't go as crazy as it could have.
It was close though, man. Like that team, their points were like right on the verge of exploding, where like one more score or something, I think it would have really came off. Even if they make the field goal and go to OT at the end, it was really close to popping off though.
Yeah, no, it definitely had the feel to it. Like some of the field goals just felt like it just kind of killed the game a little bit, for sure. Bruce, I'll head on back to you. Obviously talk about some of these mid-tier guys. We talked about some, but talk about the values here. You talked about the Oklahoma State situation. You should probably mention it again real quick. If anyone just joined in, tell them about the Oklahoma State with Chuba Hubbard being out and how to handle that, and other guys that you might want to go to besides Stevie Scott.
Yeah, it looks like LD Brown is going to be a game time decision. So that'll be interesting to get down, see exactly what's going to happen there. Just make sure to stay tuned in the Discord. Desmond Jackson and Dominic Richardson would be the two backups there. I like Jackson a lot. He's a junior college transfer, and he looks like a good back. He's already graded high by PFF, so and he already got 30% of the snaps last week. So they've kind of been working him in a little bit. So I'll definitely have a piece of him even if LD Brown is in. I still like him at that price. It's just way too cheap. Some of the other values, I really don't want to go down this far, just because Desmond Jackson's there. But BC, the BC running backs. You have David Bailey and Travis Levy. Levy's kind of got more snaps lately, and he's a receiving threat out of the backfield. at 3,900 against Louisville. So he's interesting. Also, Ricky Person Jr. For NC State against Syracuse. Syracuse has the worst rush defense in the ACC. So he's not a terrible play at 4,600. He'll be sharing carries with Bam Knight for NC State. Also, one more, David Ellis for Indiana has lined up in the slot last couple of weeks against Maryland. If you want a cheap running back piece there, he takes snaps in the backfield and also in the slot. So that's kind of. I really don't want to go down that far, other than Desmond Jackson, but those plays are definitely there.
Yeah, and Big T, I'll head on to you for this question in tournaments. We may have talked about it a little bit, but like the more we're discussing it, like I don't think you're making a running back pivot off of those value plays. Like if you want to be different, right? You're not saying let me pivot from this 3.3K value play to a 4K one. I think what you're doing is you're going to pay all the way up for a Najee Harris, Travis Etienne. Like you're going to go way to the top at running back and then way down at receiver. Would that be the tournament strategy if you really don't want to play the Oklahoma State guys?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I'm going to do it one way or the other. Like, yeah, up top at running back, cheap at receiver, or the opposite. I like these cheap running backs, though. I mean, so my cheap guys, besides the Okie State guys, are exactly like Bruce said. You got Levy, who's 3,900, or Levy, however you pronounce his name, 3,900 against Louisville. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he's a really good play. And David Bailey is a little more expensive, and I don't like him as much, but he's still 4,400 against Louisville, and he gets plenty of work. So I think both those guys are really good plays. I mean, my plan right now, I haven't built any teams since this news has hit, but is honestly to play one of each team, like Desmond Jackson and Levy or something, or let LD Brown. I don't know if I can play him, though. I'm kind of – okay, so it looks like they're saying LD's going to be out, so –
I want him out. That's what I was hoping for. So
this latest update it's a student reporter, so we don't know if they're credible. It says in the chat, but instantly, I'll just say how my head works when I'm watching this. When they say Chuba's out, when they say LD's a game time decision, immediately I'm really questionable with it, to where I want Desmond Jackson anyways. So really, it doesn't impact me all that much. Sure, I'd rather him be out so that we get all the work. But Desmond Jackson's my guy really either way. If LD's out for sure, Desmond Jackson is just a total mortal lock for me at 3,300. There's no way I'm fading him on anything. And it brings into play my original plan that I think you can play the 3K guy too. He might suck. Bruce is going to know more than me about these guys. But 6,300 for two guys, and you know what it does? It lets us play both quarterbacks and both stud receivers with them. And, I mean, I can guarantee I'll be making one of those teams of my three.
Bruce, any final thoughts here at the cheap running back position, or are you down to move on?
Tell me about this 3K dude. I need to know something about him.
Let me get back to you on that. I'm looking into him. He kind of looks like a bigger running back as opposed to Jackson.
All right, while you look,
I don't like the bigger running backs. That's not what I want to hear out of the gate.
Yeah. While you're looking in that, Bruce, I did want to mention, so we got Torrin Edwards in the chat. He said, first time watching you guys for CFB, great info. Torrin, like, I'm happy to have you, but you know what that means? That means you're not signed up for the premium, man. That means you're not over here at Run Pure Sports watching me and Bruce and Holden. We break it down on Friday nights, or about Friday at like 6 o'clock. We do the show, and then you guys got access to watch that all the way up until Saturday over here at Run Pure Sports. So you got to get in over here. You got to use the code Turkey50 to get 50% off your first payment that you're making. So yeah, head on over, check that out, guys. And I'm laughing because Big T's laughing, and he said, Vipin said in the chat, he's a plotter, right? Is that what you're laughing about, Big T?
Plotter. That's never good if he's a plotter.
Yeah, plotters. It's not plotter season for me, man. I'm not in on plotting.
I'm not into plotters either. I mean, he is 3K, so like, I mean, I could still roll the dice, but I don't ever want to hear like he's a plotter.
So Bruce, what do we got on the plotter here?
Yeah, he's 6', 205. Looks like he was committed to TCU, and they hired some new guys, and they they kind of stopped contacting him, and he went to Oklahoma State.
Stop contacting him.
Yeah.
That's never good.
No, never. But we did roast McLeod and the what was it, the Liberty backs the other day, and they both went off. So
oh man,
maybe just play him.
It is overcome. That McLeod did hurt me deep because I didn't play him on anything, and I really don't know why, because I pivoted all my to a bunch of UCF, and I should have played some McLeod. That was dumb not to play him.
I almost did that. I almost tinkered to him, Big T. I was like looking around. It just didn't line up with what I had. Like I just had this like weird range, and I didn't need to pay up anymore.
The way Central Florida plays, like it's just so easy for the other guy. That was dumb not playing him.
Yeah, and Torin, he said he has a membership, so he just hasn't checked this out, but that's okay. But if he does have a membership, you know what that means? He checks out our show with JSU, which is tomorrow. It's the premium show where he gives out all the NFL winners. Big T, you did the premium NFL show with JSU on Friday night. I'm sure JSU gave a ton of more winners. How are you guys feeling on that Friday night show?
Oh, we're feeling good like always. So. Yeah, it was another 2.5 hour show. We give a full breakdown, bet side with Dunkel. We did the showdown after it, just like usual. It was a holiday week, but we pounded away another 3.5 hours.
Nice. You love to see it. And hey, speaking of the bet side, I got a couple bets up for college football today. I got a couple props up. I was looking at a couple things, used some of Bruce's stuff, and I'm feeling good. I hit one yesterday, a prop, and put these two on the sheet. So, if you haven't checked out Run Pure Bets, go check that out over there. Let's talk about the receiver position, though, because a lot to talk about at the top. We kind of talked about we were talking about running back.
When chat does this, not to interrupt, Mangone, but in the Discord, somebody says, who is the other running back Big T is talking about besides Jackson? When literally like an inch above it on the Discord, it says the two running backs. Like, all you have to do is read the thing, and you'll know exactly what I'm saying.
I see it. It's literally, and it's not even like a message. It's literally a tweet. Like it's like you put a. Oh man, but so it's Jackson and Richardson. If he happens to be watching the show,
6,300 for both.
Yep. And again, against a really bad defense. So
that Black Friday deal there.
That is a nice little Black Friday deal.
I mean, I know the dude might suck, but seriously, he's 3K. Like, if they get like 3 or 4 touchdowns between the running backs, I don't care if it comes from just one or both of them. I mean, at 3K, if he gets one touchdown and 40 yards, you're big, because no one's getting all those studs at the top.
Yeah, best part is like a lot of people played that Ryan, like if you made a late swap, right? That Ryan dude for UCF. Is it O'Keefe? Yeah, I didn't want to mess up his name. I knew I didn't know it. He was awful yesterday, but he was on some like winning lineups. And like even like I saw on FanDuel, like Pimpleton cost like so much money. He was on winning lineups. So you can get away with having duds sometimes. You just can.
Especially in college, because I can promise you, like just say Penix, say Coral, Elijah, and Freifogel all get 50. Which in college, they all easily could get 50. You got 200 from 4 dudes. Like, I mean, these other dudes can't all get 0, but you just have so much upside in college, and you can have some weird combinations. And I love it, because I've shipped tournaments all kinds of times with a 0 from a min price guy. You just don't need it. Put it with Penix all of a sudden. Then for Penix and your cheap guy, you're at whatever that is, 11-8. So just put his points with him. If Penix crushes, no one's playing Penix and Coral together. Like, no one.
Yeah. And I do want to mention, so the Raheem Jarrett appears to be missing from the Maryland game. So freshman wide receiver. Is that going to be, how's that going to shake things out for us?
Yeah, that sucks.
Raheem Jarrett?
Yeah, he's the big freshman wide receiver that they
he was on my main team. I was excited.
Yeah, so I mean, hey, that might give us a little bit of a better like value. I mean, we could go to Jashawn Jones. He was someone I was actually looking at a little bit at the 3.8K range. So yeah,
just boost him and Demas. Those two guys are the main targeted receivers there, and Daryl Jones as well, 3,100. There's just so much value opening up now. It's great.
Yeah, it's shaking up to be a fun slate. Another reason to get on that Discord. I'm going to be chatting in there probably for the hour going up and trying to figure it all out. So, We got everyone in chat saying Demas Junior season, Demas and Jones. So yeah, the Discord chat is on it right now. So let's talk about these receivers at the top. And we talked about Freifogel a little bit, Elijah Moore. I mean, two great options to obviously like. And Bruce, we actually have someone in our Discord chat. He said he talked to Devonta Smith. They were playing NBA 2K last night, and he said Devonta Smith said he's going to have a big game against Auburn tomorrow. But I kind of expect like your star receiver to say that every game.
Said he's going to have a big game. I don't believe it.
I mean, like the thing is, like, let me tell you, like the Alabama star receiver, he's probably going to say he's going to have a big game probably every game. But college kid just mess around in like the biggest game of the year right against Auburn for them. So. But how are you handling the top, Bruce? Who are your favorite receivers? Is it Freifogel? Is it Moore? Is it Smith?
Yeah, I love playing Elijah Moore every week if I can. Freifogel just makes plays. Penix just throws the ball up to him, and he just he doesn't get much separation, which is a little worrisome. But he's just a stud. He just catches everything. So I like both of those guys. Of course, Smith. He has 50-point upside as well. A guy that can go overlooked, I think, is Tylan Wallace, especially with Hubbard out today. They may throw it to him quite a bit more, and it is that soft Texas Tech defense too. So I like him up there too. All these high price guys are just studs. There's a lot of studs on this wide receiver slate.
Do we? So I was going to ask you, because I do agree on the Tylan Wallace thing. Like, he's definitely in the conversation. He's someone I think you can consider. Is Spencer Sanders in or out, or is he still doubtful? Because, dude, if Spencer Sanders is not in there, like, I don't know if I can trust this Oklahoma State team. Like, I mean, obviously the running backs I don't care because they're just such great values, and they'll find a way to get there against that defense. But I mean, I am definitely concerned about Tylan Wallace if it's not Spencer Sanders back there. Do we have news on that yet?
Let me see. Last I looked, he was still probable, actually. So
okay, yeah, I could be wrong on it, right? I've seen the doubtful, and you probably have a better read on it than me. So I was just curious about that. And I even said to myself, it's a 12 o'clock game. I'll figure it out when I get there. And it didn't seem like Wallace was really on my radar in general that much because of the way my construction was. So I didn't care that much about it. But I'm with you.
Not that it's official, but that report that kind of looked good so far didn't have him on the inactives with those running backs. So
yeah, he's he came back in the game late last week. I think he'll go today. He just got a little banged up like he always does.
Yeah, I mean, but that's like, man, like I will say, like that's definitely going to be good if Spencer's back there throwing to Tylan. Like that definitely gets me more excited about maybe getting some exposure to him. And when I was even building here while we're talking right now, I had a team that like fell right on Tylan Wallace, and I was like, okay, that's fine with me. I wouldn't hate that at all. So I think that they could get him more involved for sure. Big T, you talked about just like double spending up for these two receivers. How are you ranking these guys? How do you like them?
Yeah, we got not confirmed, but this always happens with in Discord and on Twitter. Like, I just go with the news. People like want it to be confirmed, like see him on the field. We've had this happen in Discord a ton. Like, if I see someone that is reliable say that he's good to go, like I'm just good with it. If it proves to be wrong, I'll just circle back later and readjust. But like this person from Okie State said, is Marshall hey Marshall, is Spencer Sanders good to go? He said no issues there. I think it's good to go there. But just to circle back to receiver, yeah, I mean the dudes at the top are just total studs. It's just like running back for me. Like, you got these guys at the top that are just awesome, and then you got a ton of value guys that are awesome. So the roster construction is just super clear for me today. And it's all going to start with these Indiana guys, though. I mean, you got Freifogel, 78, Wap, 52. Marshall and Hendershot are both very good plays under 4K. So not only do you think Penix is the best play, but you got 4 receivers to choose from. I think you should play 2 of them, maybe even 3 if you think the game totally shoots out to be a little even more different. But at least 2 with Penix, and I want Freifogel for sure, plus one of the cheaper guys. I'd like Wap. I mean, he's not that much more than the other 2, 5,200 compared to 39 and 37. So if you can fit him, I like it. I mean, if you need the savings, then I don't mind the other guys either. But like Bruce, how much better is Wap than the other two? Or do you even think he's better?
I like Marshall.
You like Marshall better than Wap, just straight up?
I do. He was injured early part of the year and came back. Last week he had more targets than Wap, and he's a deep threat too. He's a big wide receiver. I think he's 6'4". So I like him a little bit more. He gets red zone targets too. So 3,900, plays the whole game, has double-digit target upside. I just love that.
And you like him more than Wap, you said?
Yeah, I do.
Oh wow, okay. That's interesting. I'm surprised to hear you say that, but I'll have to look obviously to see. He's definitely someone that I kind of was messing around with in some build, but I'll have to see. Maybe if I get off Wap, see what it can get for me. I was busy looking at some of these props here real quick because I was curious what Tyler Wallace's was, and he's at like 85.5 now. So I was wondering if there was any value on that for betting wise. See if there was any opportunities there. But let's talk about some of these other receivers. We talked about some of the Indiana guys, mainly because we were talking about some of the guys at the top like Fry Fogel. How about the mid tier, right? What else can we like here? I mean, I think Kyle Pitts at 6'7", he's interesting. But again, UK is not really the team that I want to target too much. I don't think it's the right slate. Dotson, he's 6.5K. Bruce, break this thing down for me.
Yeah, you have Zay Flowers there also against Louisville. That seems like a solid play if he's healthy. He was a little banged up in their last game, so it's something to monitor in the Discord for sure. You have Wap there as well. John Mechie against Auburn. He should be the second most targeted guy behind Smith. So, maybe if you make a Bama stack, which you can easily now with all the value, throw Mac Jones and Devontae Smith and Mechie in there. That could be a good solid stack. Also have Jaden Walley there. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's a good solid run back candidate in your Mississippi stacks. Played 80% of the snaps last week, and I think he had 7 or 8 targets and a touchdown. So good solid value at 4,900. All the Michigan receivers are there. If you think that game kind of shoots out, but I don't love targeting Michigan. And Des Fitzpatrick for Louisville. He's still getting his same number of snaps there, and they have a good matchup against Boston College.
Yeah, I did want to ask you, Bruce, who do you think Will Rogers' preferred receiver would be? Like, if you were stacking up Will Rogers, is it Wale? Is it Mitchell? Is it Malik Heath? Like, could you go back to Williams? I know we played him earlier in the year. Do you have a read on who the guy would maybe be there for that game?
I mainly love Wally and Osiris Mitchell. Those two guys. I loved Javonte Payton early in the year, but his snap count has kind of gone down, which is strange. I thought maybe he was the most talented guy there out of those guys. But Osiris Mitchell is going to get lower ownership than Wally. I think Wally's going to be a little bit more owned just because he's $200 less. And I kept landing on him in most of my builds. So I'd stick with Mitchell there. I think he's just a solid play.
All right, Big T, tell me about some of these cheap end receivers. I know, again, like you talked about, like, and maybe some more of the cheaper running backs and maybe paying up more receiver, but I'm sure there's some cheap receivers that you're going to be all over today.
I mean, I can't even focus on receiver because our boy Kay Fallick just has a man crush on Scary Terry from Kentucky. And it's just the worst play every single week. And this guy every single week goes in Discord like, can I play Scary Terry? No. Okay, I can't wait to play him. And then next week, the same thing, Scary Terry. I mean, this dude last week, where's this guy at? I got to pull it. I can't even focus because of how bad a play this is. They lost 63-3 last week, and he scored 4 fantasy points. Like, why in the world would you ever play a quarterback that scores 4 fantasy points ever? He scored 5 against Missouri. He wants to play a dude that scored 4 and 5 points 2 of the last 3 weeks when we can play 2 absolute stud quarterbacks.
Oh, he wants to play Terry Wilson. You're talking about?
Oh yeah, I mean
because Terry won him a bunch of money in week 5. That's why. That's the only reason. It was the 1 week.
He needs to lock that money up in the bank and not give any more back to Scary Terry.
It sounds like he gave it back because I know the week against Tennessee he definitely played him. I remember him in the Discord chat talking about it. He goes, I'm messing with that game, and I understood it. I get it. And if you're gonna play Scary Terry, probably stack it up with what's his name? Ali, right? Josh Ali. That if you're gonna play Scary Terry, you may as well play Josh Ali and then play Kyle Trask.
Don't play Scary Terry. Like, I mean, he doesn't get to play Ole Miss every week. Like,
I will say, I mean, Bruce, what do you think of is K Fallon crazy? He is playing that Florida defense, and that Florida defense ain't great.
I think the Florida defense has gotten a little bit better. They got some guys back. I know their rush defense has gotten better. I played the Vandy running back last week, and didn't turn out well for me.
Just make fun of him, Bruce. Just get it over with and make fun of our boy K Fallon.
Yeah, you know he's our boy.
Terry Wilson. We could play Penix. We could play Coral. And they're going to score like 50, and he wants to play Terry Wilson.
You know Bruce doesn't want to hurt his boys' feelings, but Big T's the other way. He wants to make fun of his boys. He's looking for.
I've been making fun of him for a month. He plays. He got 4 from him last week. In the Missouri game, he got 5-piece from him. Like, if I played a quarterback and he got me 5 fantasy points, I would never play him again. I'd be scarred for life. But he keeps fighting back week after week.
I'm seeing it now. Go look at Florida. No, play him naked. He is killing me. It's funny.
I would rather play Terry Rozier at quarterback.
I'd rather play Terry Rozier at quarterback than Terry Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh no, he did not. He just said mediocre Penix. He's making fun of our boy. This is not cool, K Fallon. But show's a little derailed. We'll get back on track a bit on some of these cheap receivers. Big T, there's got to be someone, right? You've been killing it, I feel like, with these guys. Like, is it Seth Williams in the Auburn-Alabama game? Who are the guys here?
No, like, I know it just sounds simplified, but, like, you don't need to play all these. You got just great plays in certain spots. Like, the guys at the top are in great spots. But then you just look at the teams we like. Okay, so now Maryland, another team I like. All of a sudden, we got the dude out, and we got Demas and Jones at 5,500 and 3,800. Both great plays, both in games I like. Literally no reason not to play one of those guys when you're playing the TIA team. See, we already talked about the Indiana guys. There's 4 of them there. All of a sudden you go, I mean, you got the dudes at the top that we liked. Let me pull some besides in my stacks. Let me see who I got even in my player pool. So if you take Indiana, Maryland, so then you got Mississippi State guys that are more unpredictable, but like if you're playing that quarterback, which I don't know if I will, I mean, you still got Heath, Wally. I like this Mitchell guy, 5,100. You still got my boy Powell from Clemson, 63. I think he's clearly their number 1 receiver. I know some people like the other dude more, Rodgers, but I think Powell is way better than him. He's shown it the last 2 weeks, both in big games, absolutely crushed. But he is priced up a little bit now at 63. You got Dotson at 65, I think is the best play. I think a lot of the like optimal people will play Dotson just because he feels cheap. I mean, I want to say he was in the 8Ks a few times, right? Like he was priced way up there. So he feels too cheap and Powell feels too expensive, and they're kind of the same price. But for the most part, I mean, really the only guys outside of my stacks at receiver will be Devontae Smith because he's a total stud, Dotson at 65, and Powell at 63 are literally the only receivers I'll play not in my stacks, like in my whole player pool, no matter how many teams I'd play.
Bruce, actually, K Fallon asked a question based on Stevie Scott and this Indiana offense. He said, or he didn't ask the question, but I'm asking it. He's talking about it could be a Stevie Scott game, right? And I guess the question I have is, and maybe Big T can chime in too as well. How are you stacking this game up? Like, are you going to play Penix with Stevie Scott? Are you going to play them separate? How would you handle that, Bruce?
He's cheap enough where you can. I think in cash, I'm just going to play them both just to get all the scoring there. But yeah, in GPPs, I could see playing, one side of that or the other, just because, you don't want to limit your upside there. But yeah, I like both in cash and, fading one or the other in GPPs.
Big T, what do you think of that? How would you handle Stevie Scott and Penix? You playing them together? You playing them separate?
I think you can. I still go back to that point. Like if I'm playing Penix, I'll probably just pivot to whatever that other Marks, the 5,100 guy from Mississippi State. He's a pass catcher too, right, Bruce, or no?
Yeah, they've kind of gone to Dylan Johnson a little bit more here lately, but Marks is solid too. I think they like Johnson just a little bit more, but he's cheap too. So
Does Johnson catch the ball too?
Yeah, they throw to both of them. I think Johnson had 6 targets last week.
Yeah, I mean, so I like both of them. I'd rather play one of them, but I do like to your original point, Mangone. Like I think he's definitely a better play. So, God, I don't know. Like I don't think they ever like hit their ceiling together that much though. Like if Indiana just pounds Maryland, I think it's maybe on the ground. So if you're not playing the passing game, I think he's a total lock. There's no way you can fade. He keeps that. I think I accidentally deleted him out of my player pool or something because I can't find him. But yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can not play. He's 5,100. He's projected for like 18 points or somewhere in that range. Yeah, I don't know about playing them together though. I'm torn on it. Like I don't think it's the right move though. I think it's a good floor play like in cash, but I don't think they both hit their ceilings, put it that way.
Yeah, definitely trying to think that one through and trying to figure out how to handle that situation. Definitely.
Someone in chat said, "Can we talk about Hockman?" I don't even know who Hockman is. Maybe Bruce can help.
He's the NC State quarterback.
That's why I don't know who he is because I'm not playing Scary Terry and Hawkman. I don't even know. I can't play that.
Yeah, there's other guys in that range I like a little more. If maybe you think that game goes crazy, I could play it, but yeah.
I just gotta talk about these people with this Terry Wilson, and one of them is my lady Susie who crushes tennis, crushes college for us. She says I need minimal from him. I'm going to go up to Devontae and more. You don't need minimal from him because I'm going to get 50 from both of my quarterbacks, and I have value plays. It's roster construction. If you don't get points from your quarterback, if he gets you 15, that is not going to do it today. I promise you.
Yeah, I will say one thing I do want to mention, and that definitely happened on yesterday's slate. A lot of people scored in like the same range, and like I ended up looking at like kind of how all the construction was, and like not a lot of guys at quarterback, right? Like got to 40, and not a lot of guys got to 40 in general. But you know who did? Dylan Gabriel, right? So like you had to spend, had to spend on Dylan Gabriel to like technically be like shipping everything. It felt like so. I don't know that at least, and again, maybe some teams squeaked in, but it's for the majority of teams, right? They had to be having Dylan Gabriel on them because of the way the construction just went. So if it goes the way that Tony's talking about, then it could. But obviously, if the values end up getting there, the other guys don't. But I do think some of these quarterbacks.
I will be stunned if Terry Wilson gets 14 points and he's in the winner. I'll be literally stunned. Yeah, if he goes off, then sure, he's in the winner. But you need him to make no mistake about it. You need him to score if he's a quarterback. Like, I think you need him 25, 30 fan. Even though he's cheap, you still need those points.
Yeah. Big T, talk about the flex and super flex. How are you handling that on this slate in tournaments?
I mean, just like always, I'm playing 2 quarterbacks, and they're going to be 2 of the 4 I said. My teams are going to be very predictable. I'm going to play Coral, Penix, Tia, Rogers, 4 quarterbacks. I don't know like how I'll differentiate them, but those are going to be my only 4. I'm going to have 2 on every team. And then the flex is more than likely going to be a receiver today, just because I don't love running back besides the values. And I just like the correlations with my quarterbacks because I love 3 guys. I mean, Coral, Penix, and Tia. I think Tia is going to be low owned for us too. And I'm glad Bruce likes him as well because I think Maryland's going to score on Indiana. And I think he's going to have a big day. People have forgot how good he looked. I mean, you pull up his last 2 games because they were COVID last week, I think, right, Bruce?
Yeah, they haven't played in a while.
So people forget, like he went 25 and 48 the last 2 games against 2 bad teams. I'm not saying they weren't bad teams, and Indiana's way better, but Indiana's coming off a huge game last week. It could be a little letdown spot for Indiana where Maryland can score some points. And I mean, I love Tia, and you got some receivers that he can throw to too. So 7,400, no one is playing Tia today, I promise you, and I can't wait for that.
All right, Bruce, how are you handling it? Flex, super flex, how are you going to take care of it in cash games?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards running back in cash. GPPs, I can see it being a 4 wide receiver kind of day. So I may lean that way. Just to go back on wide receiver, I missed. I know someone in the chat was asking about DJ Turner for Pittsburgh. Jordan Addison might be in today. I tried to look on the Twitter to see if there was any news, but when you look up Jordan Addison, a lot of hot women come up. So didn't find much info there. So if he's back, it makes DJ Turner less of a good play. It's just going to be good game script there. Turner got 20 targets last week with Addison out. So if for some reason he's out, and he gets that kind of volume again, that's a great play for 4,200.
All right, well, be sure to get in the Discord chat, guys, and come hang out with us. Sign up for our premium at Run Pure Sports. Use the code Turkey50, and you guys can get in on our content over here. Hang out and get all the news. It's worth every penny. Also, please hit that like, hit the subscribe on the video. We appreciate it a ton. Helps us out. Big T, give us some final thoughts and tell the people about the Wood Show tomorrow, where they can hang out with us.
I got one more question for Bruce too, because I got to pick his brain while we got him on here. But so Maryland, now that they got the dude out, we know Demas, we know Jones. You said the other Jones at 31. How would you rank these other pieces after the 2 guys we already know? Like, is Daryl Jones 3,100 then clear number 3, or is it this Cobbs dude, or like how would you rank these other guys?
Yeah, it looks like Cobbs is the backup to Jarrett. So I would
he should get the biggest boost.
Yeah, I would put him up there
because he's 3,300 as well, which is just very, very cheap.
Yeah. And I've always liked Jones. Jones is just a explosive player. I'm not sure if he's a senior or not, but it feels like he's been around a long time.
He was banged up before the one game when we played him, right? And then he came back and did pretty good. Yeah,
he scored a touchdown that game, I believe. So yeah, I love him. He tore his ACL last year, I believe, but he's working his way back, and he's still getting 70% of the snaps. So I love him. And if Cobbs is starting on the other side, like it looks like, he's just a great play at 3,300.
Like Jones is 3,800. He went 3 for 103 and a touchdown 2 games ago. I mean, just a great play today. I love the Maryland. But yeah, tomorrow, 10 a.m., back to the NFL grind, Morning Wood, me, Hoop, Mangone, all about it. And what else do you tell me to talk about?
No, just that, man. Talk about the Wood Show.
We're going to pick some winners tomorrow. Another fun slate tomorrow, too. So we're going to get MMA winners later today. The bet side, we're going to pick winners all weekend like we always do. Turkey 50 is the code. Sign up because, I mean, right now, if you're not on the site, you can go on there, buy the monthly for $100. It's only $50 will get you the whole – I mean, it's November 28th, so you're going to get all of December basically for $50. Go check it out. Turkey 50 is the code.
Yep, and in a month we'll have basketball back, NBA, so I can't wait. Excited for that, but we got to get out of here, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us on the free college football show. Run Pure U for me, Mangone, Big T, and Bruce. We're out of here.